Ciao, ciao, and welcome to another episode of Senior Bitches. It's a global smash hit where we celebrate the magical universe of women over 55 years of age. We choose not to be invisible, leave the building. I don't think we're past our prime. I think we're still having a wonderful, wonderful experience. So today I am thrilled. My guest is live from Dubai, where she's having her morning coffee. And I am wrapping up my day in California, having a little Sauvignon Blanc, just a little bit. And I'm thrilled to welcome the iridescent Caroline LaBouchare. Welcome to Senior Bitches. It's lovely to see you. Lovely to see you.
Thank you.
I discovered Caroline a few years ago on social media, specifically Instagram, and became completely obsessed with her. As you can see, or if you follow her feed, she's got this gorgeous mane of gray hair. She was doing it before anybody was, before Andy, before all the gals were. You were.
I didn't use Jack Martin, although he's a friend and I love him.
He's a fortune. My friend tried to get into him. He was like $3,000.
Oh, I think that's cheap. I mean, really, it takes all day. He can only take one person a day. It takes 8 hours. And
Yes.
if you work out how much it costs to go to the hairdresser, which is maybe an hour or two, it's kind of
It's a mortgage payment. Okay. Let's be honest about that. Caroline celebrates and explores all the different iterations of aging, and you provide this beautiful, inclusive forum where you document your journey from at one time in your life, a passive position, and now where you are today, which is a firm believer in the house of yes, which I am 100,000,000%. So totally inspirational. Now, as we get older, Caroline, I'm 61. I can barely say it. And I do a podcast about aging.
Amazing. I love that.
I do. I'm getting hives.
61.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I know. And I just turned 61. So I've been saying 60 for a long time. And this Senior Bitches podcast, I'm talking about, to all these incredible women. And every time I say my age, my throat tightens up and I get a rash. So I've got some work to do on the aging process because it's not for the faint of heart.
Skin is tightening up. That's the most important.
It's okay, right? So far, so good. So what happens when you start to age is you start to look around for role models because you don't want to be alone in this process, and you crave people who are having the same experience. Because we refuse to be invisible, which is kind of revolutionary because women over 50, even 40, we're sort of relegated to the background. And this whole community that you are creating is all about connection. And I know that that is so important to you to help women. And I think even in the last year or two, the aging community has changed. Do you feel a shift even from 5 years ago, the conversations we're having around aging?
Absolutely. Look at the over 50s on Instagram now. There are so many of them.
It's incredible.
I can still consider myself quite a newbie on Instagram, but still, I was talking about menopause when I was 50, so that was 8 years ago before this boom happened, which is great. But I feel like I should sort of step down from it and let the world go forth because I'm now post-menopause.
I'm post-menopause too, thank God.
But isn't it great? I mean, just life is so much better now than it was. And then you look at
a million
how was your
percent.
mother at your age?
Sorry?
How was your mother at your age?
Well, my mother was like from that ilk. I don't know if your mom was the same, but my mom smoked cigarettes. She had martinis when she was pregnant. She popped out 4 kids. Right. We played on the street. They never helped us with homework. I mean, to this day, my mom has martinis and cocktail hour. So she actually sailed through menopause, but I don't think there was anybody she could call up on the phone and say if she was having any of these symptoms. I don't think there was a community for that. No. I don't think that it existed.
We really need to speak out about how we feel so that we can share. And there will be people who just listen and take it on board and keep going on with their lives. And there'll be other people who take it on board and go forth and fight and become braver.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about. I'm so much braver now than I was.
That's so funny because I was going to talk to you about that because I call this point in our life the curiosity landscape. Like over 55, I sort of feel like I'm 12, like I'm learning everything again, like everything I sort of know. Isn't it incredible?
There's so much to learn.
It's innocent. It's like a little innocent phase,
yeah.
Even though we've been through a lot, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a beautiful phase of life. And when I was looking at your Instagram feed, obviously, it looks perfect, but I never thought for a second you were this woman who just had gray hair and came on Instagram. And, there was always like gravitas in you, and I couldn't figure it out. And I did a deep dive into your life and started looking at what you've been through to get to where you are. And I found it. And the experience of relating to you of when, you had a life implosion, and we've all had our Hiroshimas in our life. And you actually, but eight or so years ago, your life kind of blew up. You were in Dubai with your husband of 30 years, your two beautiful children living in this gorgeous environment with the obligatory villa and house and security detail. And then your husband's contract of 30 years was terminated, and he was given 6 months. See you later. Here's unemployment. And your life changed in a second.
Yeah, it was actually, you're unemployed from today.
Oh, nice.
Not even 6 months. So we were unemployed for 6 months. And that was the time that we slept on a mattress in an empty apartment and sold all our stuff. Do you know, my biggest regret of all, one of my biggest regrets is selling my sewing machine. I loved my sewing machine, and I had my sewing machine for probably 25 years. And I find that so emotional that I had to get rid of that. I mean, we got rid of everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I loved my sewing, and I can't bring myself to buy another one because it will never be the same.
Isn't that interesting, the things? Because it's definitely, I've had that in my life too, the before moment and then the after moment. And you're like, the divide is so great.
Yeah.
And you're on this new path. And I guess my first question to you, I have a few questions around it, because I think that it's made you the person you are today, which is incredible.
100%. When my children ask advice, I say to them, you've just got to make mistakes. Go out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you my 5 pence worth, but go forth, because you learn from your mistakes. What would I do differently when I was a teenager? Nothing. I've made all the stupid mistakes I made because they make you the person you are. Right.
You need obstacles. In every good rom-com, you need obstacles.
And we still make mistakes. I'm sure you'll agree with that.
Oh yeah, I made several today. It happens on a daily basis. So before you had this implosion in Dubai, which is a lot about artifice and image, and you're a beautiful family, and I'm sure you had a beautiful home and all this stuff. Were you happy before that shift happened? Did you feel comfortable in your skin prior?
I was no happy. I may have thought that I was, but I was no happier than I had been before, probably. I mean, they say money doesn't buy happiness. Well, it kind of does. But
interesting.
On a level of where I am today and where I was then, I'm more self-assured now. So money didn't buy that. It didn't change me. That didn't make me confident, because you never know when it's going to disappear, do you? No. Money is money.
No.
So now I am a different person, because I'm excited about all this learning phase. I'm excited about my new life. I'm excited about being brave and going out and doing things and not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow. Whereas before, I was still the wife of. Right. Right. And so I'm still happily married. Right. 2 years, but right. But still, I'm no longer the wife of. I'm David's wife. So I know that you did some spiritual healing and stuff. I'm talking to a really interesting woman, and I've been through a bit of a shit show, and she always says to me, it's life serving you blessings. That's a platter full of blessings, because you're having a spiritual crisis and it comes to the forefront. You can't escape it. And you have these experiences that are just learning lessons, just huge, huge learning curves. So when that happened, what was your first help at the time, though? No. When people say, oh, it'll be fine, but it's not fine. This doesn't feel good. No. It doesn't feel good. So what was your first emotion when that happened? When it sort of, when everything sort of went a little south? Shock. I just wanted to get out of Dubai. I wanted to go back to England, wanted to literally tail between our legs and leave. But David was having none of that. He wanted to stay and get another job here. And I felt sorry for myself.
Well, yeah, I would.
Felt sorry for myself. I was angry with my husband, and honestly, I felt like he'd let us down, because I married him with a job. I expected him to keep the job. That is honestly how I felt.
Yeah.
Also, being in the army, you have security generally, unless you really mess it
Right.
up.
You're right.
So anyway, we didn't out here. So yeah, so I was angry, bitter, all the things that I learned didn't serve me, but at the
Right.
time they were the only emotions I knew.
Did you feel like a victim?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it was what we call in our household, woe is me.
Right.
Woe
Right.
is me.
Right. And that's the worst, because you feel
It's pathetic.
powerless. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
did you,
was powerless because I had never stepped up. I wasn't brought up as a child to step up. I was brought up to be the wife of. I'd
right.
never had a career. I was not brought up to have a career.
Right. Your assignment was to get married and be a beautiful wife, mother,
Exactly. That was
and somebody was
assignment.
going to take care of you. God damn it.
Yes. Yes.
That was going to happen.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
now I'm earning my own money, and I'm going out in the evening. David's my +1, and I'm traveling by myself, forgetting my passport, doing all sorts of silly things.
All sorts of adult things that we all do.
sorts of adult things. Yes, but he's always been the passport carrier. I know it sounds pathetic, but that's just the way it is.
No, I know. I mean, I'm divorced 17, 18 years. I'm divorced a long time, and I never remarried. That's a whole other podcast. But listen, I know a lot of women who were in that position, and the husband was the main breadwinner, winner. They didn't know about the finances. I actually wrote a book about divorce. And were completely blindsided when these things started to happen, and had no autonomy, didn't know where anything was. And it was just absolutely terrifying, because they had abdicated for the family, for the husband, for, the unit, and lost sight of themselves, and didn't have the wherewithal. So it's a thing. It's because we all kind of want to be taken care of, don't we? On some level, a little bit.
Yes. I adore being looked after.
Yeah.
David can't cook,
but that's okay.
But that's okay.
He's hot. I saw a picture of him. He's hot. So who cares? He's running everywhere. He's on his bike. He's sweating. I looked at his Instagram. I'm like, who cares? He's
always sweaty.
super, super lovely man. So I know you came from a privileged background, and again, the assignment to get married, to marry well, and all that stuff. And I looked at pictures of you in your 30s and 40s, and you were still obviously beautiful, but that spark didn't seem to be in your eyes. It seemed, I don't even recognize that person when I look at you now, when I see those pictures.
Exactly. That it wasn't there. I wasn't deeply, truly happy as I am now. And I listened to The Secret, I listened to The Power, I listened to all of this stuff about being happy, and I'm trying every day, even when somebody knocks me down, I get in the car and I put my thing on, and I listen to the audiobooks, and I pick myself back up, and I'm determined to be happy. I'm happy, I'm alive. I'm 59 in July, and I mean, God, look at you.
Well, okay. So, I mean, we both have the hair. No, I feel good. I actually feel really good. And I think that, well, I know, as a matter of fact, beauty is as beauty does. So it's an inside job. So when I feel good inside and happy, it just is such a difference. When I'm unhappy, I don't recognize that person. It's like the light goes, right?
I do. You may also have read that I've been on citalopram for 20 plus years. Right. And I tried to wean myself off it, and I have to go back on it, because when I'm not on it, I just cry.
So, okay, so that was interesting. I love your take on things. So I know when this went down, was it 2014 when stuff imploded with your family when David lost? Okay. And you talk about, well, first of all, selling your sewing machine. I could cry about that because I understand that. That's like a personal representation. But you went off your antidepressants because you could not afford any.
No, because here you can only get a month's supply. You have to see the doctor every time you get your prescription.
Right.
And so you pay for the doctor's visit, then you pay for the medication every month. And things had to be stopped. And that was something that had to be stopped. So that didn't help me.
No, no,
So
but
lots
that's
more
major. That is major because I was on antidepressants, Celexa, and I went off in the fall, just personally, because I'm going to go into microdosing. I'm really curious about mushrooms and microdosing, so I want to check that out. But I'm telling you, for 2 months, I'm like, really? This is hard. I can't imagine you just went cold turkey because I ebbed myself off, and that's major. That's badass major move to do that.
It didn't help. But mushrooms, I'm a little bit interested about that. So are you the kind of person who tries stuff?
Yes.
Me too. I
Yes.
love experimenting.
Oh, me too. I'm so curious. I have to. What am I waiting for?
Yeah. So what is this going to, are they like happy mushrooms?
Okay, so it's microdosing. So I went to see, like, I have a spiritual healer, and it's not woo-woo, because we both know it's deep work that you do. It's not like, the mantra and the crystals. It's really deep stuff.
No.
And I've talked to a couple of people
That's
about
not.
this.
People do that, but
Yeah,
no, I'm
yeah.
not a woo.
No, either am I. And so the microdosing of mushrooms, what's happening now, instead of antidepressants, they're microdosing with mushrooms and LSD, cybersilian, and doing it in small doses. And then there's no side effects. You don't get addicted to it. So I have several friends who are doing it who got off antidepressants, and they're doing that. Check out the microdose. I don't know if you can get it and to buy. I'm not sure.
I'm sure not.
Yeah, probably not.
No.
But
Sounds
it's
far too exciting.
yeah, no, I started microdosing, but I didn't do a very good job of it. And my producer, who's in Canada,
sorry about that.
no problem, remembers this story. I microdosed by mistake at LAX. I took the wrong dose. I was traveling and I was full on high at LAX, which is not a good place to microdose. I'm telling you right now, it was not good. But check it out, read about it.
I will. We went to LA. I was invited to Napa Valley to speak on a panel. I mean, I was invited to
Why not?
to speak on a panel with the mayor of San Francisco
Okay.
and some other people that I didn't know. Anyway, went to one of those gummy shops.
Oh yeah.
Because they're like Apple stores. They're
Yeah.
beautiful. Went in there, asked for something to be sort of more awake. I took half a gummy and thought, this isn't working. Took the other half of the gummy. Went out to lunch. Couldn't get my eyes open. Literally, I needed to go to sleep right then and there.
Oh, I wonder what you had. Okay.
I don't know, but I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, the edibles. Yeah.
Horrible.
You need a friend who can go in with you, because my friends, I've got like I sound like a pusher, but my my sister-in-law, who I adore, who has 2 young kids, has microdosing, like mushroom gummies, not cannabis. And so they're just like a little small dose, takes the edge off, helps her sleep. So when I was there, I took one. I'm like, this is the most fun ever. This was wonderful. So there's so many different routes to go.
Okay, I'm coming to stay with you.
Come to California. I'll show you a good time.
I know you will. I have a feeling.
I will show you a good time. But I just love that there's all these different iterations that we can look into now for our mental health, our physical health, our well-being, like whatever suits us. And just
and getting yourself checked out. It is so important to know about ourselves, to know what's going on, and being preemptive. We're getting older, so but we
Thank
can
you.
stay younger
Hence the
If
podcast, Senior Bitches. Yeah, I know. We're
if
getting
we
a
look
little
after
older.
ourselves.
Yeah. No, it's all about that. And I'm actually, even though I'm having a little glass of wine tonight, I've cut back on my drinking like 90%, which is big. I mean, I was in Rome for 2 months. I did not cut back then. I drank fully.
Mimi's getting married. My daughter's getting married in Rome in 3 weeks.
Where in Rome?
Villa Miani.
Where's Villa Miani? I was staying in the city center on Via Giulia.
It looks at the city center. It's 40 minutes out of town.
Okay. Rome is my favorite place in the world. It's just magical. I just love it there. I went there for 2 months on my own, didn't speak the language, for a life reset, kind of like, what happened to you, and just did a total
Now,
reset.
that's a brave thing to do.
First 2 weeks were tough, but by week 3, I was like the mayor of the city. Like, just, it was great, but I just love the beauty and the brokenness of Rome. And it was a great life experience. I learned a ton.
Did you make friends?
I did, at my local sports bar. Actually, my friend Danielle was texting me tonight, and he's always like, I can't exist without you. I'm like, oh my God, the Italians.
Oh, my goodness me.
The Italians are hilarious. So after going through all this, and you were working with a spiritual healer to help build yourself back up, what was the
a tarot card reader?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't really do spiritual healers.
Okay.
I've looked into talking to them because I'm fascinated by people. But actually it was a tarot card reader that I had in England from many years ago. And she's the kind of person who says, oh, you had a car accident back in 2007 and it was a red car and it rolled over onto its right side. So you really know.
She's the real deal.
I knew her really well. And she popped up on my Facebook feed during this bad period of time. And I thought, oh, I'll just call her and just see. I don't know what I was going to see, but I'll just call her. And she said, we can do a phone call. I thought, how can you do tarot on the phone? That just doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me.
Yeah.
Really, what she gave me was a kick up the arse. She told me to take control. David was not able to take control right now. I needed to step up to the mark. And so that planted the seed of my future. Really.
Right.
It didn't happen straight away. That's not really what I wanted to hear. I wanted her to say, oh, you poor thing. But she said, what are you playing at? She just gave me a good talking to. And that's what women do to each other. That's what we need from each other.
Yeah.
And that's how it started.
That's connection. So she said, and so that's brave. So you could step outside yourself a little and see, well, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do this.
Yeah, I don't think I thought that at the time, but I wrote it all down, as I always did after our conversations. And I believe that in any conversation there'll be a seed somewhere that's planted, and it maybe will blossom at some stage. And it's definitely a seed that was planted, but it still didn't come to fruition for a while.
Right. So it would take a while to do that. But was there a shift that you remember, that you were just like, felt confident, felt capable?
No, it was other things after that, like walking into the supermarket and feeling old and grey. And people get bored of me saying this, but I remember the exact moment walking into that supermarket and thinking, I'm invisible. No one can see me anymore. I'm grey, I'm old, and no one turns and looks at me. That used to happen when you were younger. And suddenly you're not noticed anymore. And I thought, that's it. Shoulders back. I'm gonna walk in there, flick my hair around like
this is bullshit. I'm not doing this. So how old were you, and what age, what year was that you?
This all happened in my mid 50s, early 50s.
Okay, so 7 or 8 years ago.
Mm.
Right. Interesting. You said, I don't need to put up with this. I can change the narrative. I don't know how.
I don't know how. And I'm just going to It's going to make it happen. I don't want to be that person. So I have a choice.
There you go. Well, that's it. So that's once you move out of victimhood, it's when you recognize, oh, I do have a choice. Actually, this is in my control. The situation might not be great, but I can make a choice. I can make a step forward. And that's all you can do as long as you're choosing, as long as you're actively involved. So you have that moment and then circle around to about 2015 and through your daughter, you get a modeling job, like through, I guess, that they were, okay. So all of a sudden, this woman who didn't even look in the mirror, apparently the mirror was not your friend for years and years. All of a sudden.
The camera was not my friend for sure.
Okay. So in your 50s, now you're this hot bitch and you're going to get paid because of your appearance in your 50s. Can you take a moment with that? That's so major.
And they said, do you mind doing nude? Do you mind being naked? Oh, I can do that.
Was that the first job?
Vogue.
Full-blown naked.
I have the picture.
Get it. Mike, our producer, close your eyes, Mike.
I think he's asleep.
He's not asleep. He's hanging on every word. Caroline's getting the picture of herself naked. Do you want to chat with me when she... Oh my God. Mike, can you just comment? Mike?
Smoking hot.
No, he was asleep.
Smoking hot.
Isn't that smoking? Let me see that again. I didn't see it. That's smoking hot. That is like Abaddon or something, right?
Looks
Oh,
amazing.
Caroline, that's beautiful.
Thank you. And
I'm doing that now.
I felt beautiful, but I don't know where that came from. Yes, I like I said, the seed was there, but I was invited to London, offered a job, said yes. Why I thought that I would be able to do this when I had never modeled before in my life. And I was Rosemary. This company was called Number One Rosemary Water, and I was Rosemary. So yeah, it was the most fabulous day ever. Well,
imagine like the trajectory of that. So your first modeling job is your nude.
I know, in British Vogue. And then I came back to Dubai thinking, I'm it. And then everyone was like, I don't know who you are.
You went back to that supermarket. Hi. I'm here. And people were like,
she is.
Because you said Dubai does not do gray, right?
It didn't back then, but there are a few of us around now
who are doing it. Well, that's incredible. And that's interesting that you say you don't even know where it came from. But I venture to say it came from that moment where you're like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to recreate something different for myself. And that's really powerful.
And I do believe that, like I say in my bio, I am the person now that I always was, but now I'm allowed to be that person. So it's so interesting the way we're molded all the way through life by our parents, by the people that we're surrounded by
ourselves.
By ourselves.
Yeah. The stories we tell ourselves.
To be the real person. Yes.
Yeah. And I think as you age, that goes away. Because, there's a punctuation and you're like, and plus you're fed up. I generally fed up. I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. I don't have to do that.
I was in a HIIT class yesterday. So I'm not doing burpees. I don't feel like it.
I've earned the right not. Did your husband yell at you when he found out you didn't do them? Did he give you a hard time?
I didn't tell him. I just told the teacher. I said, I'm not doing those. I did something else.
I'm not doing that. I just think that's incredible. In your 50s to be that brave. Because that's brave to do that. And you speak about you actually love the attention. You're like, oh, I'm into this.
I loved it. Absolutely. Yeah. Now I love modeling. I love it.
You can tell. I love it. You're so elegant. Oh, you know what I got? Those commando leggings.
Oh, did you?
I took them to Rome. They were my outfit for Rome. I loved them.
The pleather ones.
The pleather ones, and I'd wear them like with nice boots and my jacket, and just they were incredible. So thank you.
Not the patent ones. Have you tried the patent ones?
No.
They take ever to get on. Take a really long time, and you have to put oil on the outside, otherwise they squeak when you walk.
Oh, that's sexy though. Maybe I need to get a pair of those. But the commando were amazing.
Great. It's got some fabulous stuff, actually.
Beautiful company. beautiful company. So some of my friends have ordered from there too. So you're stepping into this career. I mean, you've got like so many partnerships with brands that you're doing, and you're so well branded, which I love. It's just elegant, it's sexy, it's a bit daring. For senior bitches, I don't know if you saw it, but the pictures, I'm in a bikini. I'm running along. I was in Indonesia and we snapped this picture, and I'm like,
Very cool.
and I asked my friend, should I do it? She's like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you do it? And I love that you're brave that way too. Like, you really put yourself out there.
Yeah, I have to take quite a few pictures to get the right one. Honestly,
We all do.
The skin's a bit saggy in places.
If you look like that, nobody's noticing your saggy skin in any places. Everybody's like, it's just, I don't want to say relief. It's so important because we are living longer. We're more empowered in our lives. We don't want to lie down and die, and to have other people experiencing aging in a unique way and sharing that for them and that information, it's essential. We've had nothing. There's been nothing.
And it is important also for women not to hate each other because they do life differently. We are all different. We now know ourselves. And if we want to wear bikinis or one pieces or abayas, then that is up to us, but not to hate you because you look amazing in a bikini. I remember being in my mid-30s with other mummies, and they were saying, oh, I'm going to wear one piece now. I'm not wearing bikini anymore. And they're still wearing one pieces. They started in their mid-30s, 40s, because that was what was done.
Right. I know. Well,
we're very different now to what 60 was when your mum was 60, although our mums were very different.
Yeah, my mom was a free spirit. My mom's 86 right now. And still, I called her and she was like on her third martini. I'm like, okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I mean, she just, she's an artist. She's just in that point of her life where she's just liberated and doing her thing. And that's a really good point, that women should really support each other. And if you want to wear a bikini, if you want to do this or do that, like, don't tear each other down. It's okay. Like, there's a lane for everybody.
And don't DM and not allow me to respond.
Do they do that? They shut it down?
Yeah, but why make that comment? And I really want to get to the bottom of these people. I want to talk to them. I'd like to meet them and find out what possessed you to feel the need to say, I'm unfollowing you because just unfollow me. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, again, that's like the curse of social media too, because it's this buffer, and you can come at people, and it's can be a really abusive forum. It can be really scary. People.
I think I'm lucky, but it's just, I would like to know. I would just like to know.
Just let me know. I've had my fair share too. And
because
now
you look fabulous, that's why.
Well, I mean, and truthfully, when I put up the bikini, I was expecting like, oh boy, here it comes. Nope, not one bad comment.
I didn't get any nasty ones on my last bikini either, which was
great. No nasty. My brother was like, rocket. Nobody was like, and Mike is like, he's very supportive, but all lovely comments, which I thought, wow, okay. I wasn't sure how that was going to go. So this occurred to me too. You're stepping fully into your career, embracing it. You're making your own money, super successful. I assume comfortable in your skin. I can see that. How does your husband feel about this new iteration of you? Because does he?
He loves it. He does. Because when I was wife of, I was very needy. And I remember I'd always be saying, when will you be home? When are you home? What are you doing? Because I was sitting at home. Yeah, I was doing stuff like housework or cooking or looking after the kids or whatever, but always wondering what he was up to, where he was. And especially with his sport, he's out for hours.
I've seen him.
Hours.
He's like up at 4 a.m. Like, what time? And he's like,
morning.
I saw him at the Dubai beach. Like, what does he eat? Just nuts and water? Like, what does he eat a lot of protein? He'd have to.
He
Is his
does. We
diet
do.
perfect?
No, it's not. As I said, he doesn't cook.
Okay.
So I cook, but we're quite low carb.
Yeah.
Yeah, we look after ourselves. Quite a lot of green stuff, and we're trying to eat more meat than against everybody else. We're trying to eat more meat than vegetables. Have you come across Dr. Anthony Chaffee?
No, but
He's
what's this?
the carnivore.
Right. Well,
stuff.
you know Jordan Peterson. Have you heard of Jordan Peterson?
No.
Oh, he's quite a controversial character. All he eats is steak.
Yeah.
That's
This
it.
guy.
Yeah.
And Dr. Anthony has eaten meat and only been drinking water for 20 plus years.
That's what Jordan Peterson does.
And his body is phenomenal.
Really?
Yes, you need to look him up.
I'm going to look him up. Okay, I'm going to look him up. Is he single? I'm going to look him up. I'm going to check him out. I actually had a steak 2 weeks ago. I actually just came off a nasty bout of COVID, but I actually 2 weeks ago, I'm like, I need a steak. So I was at my friend's house in Palm Springs and I barbecued steak, and after I ate it, I was like, why don't I do this more often? Like, I feel great.
Yeah.
I actually felt really, really good after doing it. So he was totally supportive of the change. So I would imagine that would be a compliment to your relationship. That would be a plus for your relationship, that you're more independent.
I'm busy and he's busy and we're out doing our own things, and then we come together, and he's become a great Insta husband. And he knows when we go out that he has to take some pictures. And so he's looking for the right spot.
I can see it. I mean, and I see him in some of the things.
Me.
It's adorable. It's a partnership. I love it.
Yeah, it's
I
great.
love it. It's lovely to see.
Yeah, I do still quite like him.
I can sort of tell. He seems like quite a character. So I also love about how candid you are about beauty. Like, you say, I want to look as good on the exterior as I feel on the interior. Like, you are very, I want to be slim. I want to exercise. I think you said you do Botox. I think I heard you say that you might consider surgery right there. You did it there.
I have a nice bruise coming along here.
Oh, nice.
Bruises here and here. I had Volite because we have this wedding coming up in 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
So I've been doing some stuff. So Volite is hyaluronic acid.
Yeah. Of course.
So it kind of just sort of plumps up everywhere evenly, nice thin layer. So I'm just hoping this is gonna go.
It will go.
But yes, I had a brow lift 6 or 7 years ago, an endoscopic brow lift.
Right.
And then I had a lower facelift about 1.5 years ago.
So is it a lot of downtime for those procedures, or is it?
I was on Instagram after 3 days of my lower facelift and no one knew.
Wow.
That's the best thing about finding a good surgeon, is
right.
people not knowing.
Yeah. Well, I love that you're talking about it, because here's the thing that bugs me is that I'm like, knock yourself out, do whatever you want to do to make yourself feel better. It's all our choices, our autonomy. These women who clearly do major, major work and then pretend that they didn't do it. They won't address it. I think that's really disempowering.
And it's good to share, because you don't want to do it or you do want to do it. I'm kind of putting a seed in your thought box as to whether you might like to do it at a later date or whatever. But I wanted to do it. I had very droopy eyes. And so having a brow lift was the best thing. And that took a long time though. That took a few weeks. I was very slitty-eyed for a very long time.
And how did you get those brows? Are those natural?
Eyebrows.
You and Brooke Shields.
I used to look like her.
I had her to my house for dinner. Yeah. Fabulous.
She is one of those people who people need to look at.
Well, I heard new documentary, Pretty Baby, is incredible. But when she came to my house for dinner, she came with this big, huge bunch of sunflowers for me and came into the kitchen and sat down and started helping me with dinner and started talking to me. about her personal life and all this stuff. And like, I'm like, this is one of the loveliest people I have ever met. Like no pretense, just lovely and beautiful. And I just admire her so much. But her brows, oh my God. Like yours. They're like yours.
I have about 6 nano hairs in each, you know, when they tattoo a hair.
Oh, okay. So like a
I have-
microblading.
Exactly, yes. Nano blading, sort of baby version. And I did have a couple of holes. So otherwise I don't dye them. They're going grey gracefully.
Well, it's completely working for you, obviously. So I believe, like I said, beauty is what beauty does. And so what is your internal spiritual practice? Is it your running? Like, what is it that's the inside job for you that gives you
I'm not
peace?
really running so much. I'm loving ballet right now.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, I just love it. And quite a lot of stretching. And I'm experimenting with a new gym and trying out all their classes. They've got lots of classes to try. So have you seen that lady, Anna, who closes the trunk door with her foot holding her baby?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Anna. So she lives here and she has her own gyms.
Oh, amazing. So you're
Yes.
doing that.
Yes, top stretching, and there are 5 or 6 of them in Dubai, and I've had a couple of classes with her. She is the sweetest person, softly spoken, a mother, just divine. And yeah, she is the famous Anna.
That's incredible. So that's a different type of practice than the running. Different.
Yes, it is. I don't really get it. It's getting really, really, really hot now.
Yeah.
We hit 40 plus already, and Celsius, and yeah, I'm not really feeling it. Like the burpees.
Yeah, screw that. You've got Rome coming up. You don't want to injure yourself either. You have to look absolutely fabulous. So just a few little quick questions for you, and I'll let you go to your class. What are 3 beauty things you cannot live without? 3 products that you cannot live
My
without.
lash serum, without a doubt. I love my
Okay.
lash serum.
Which is?
It's called Blink.
Okay.
I get it direct from the manufacturer. So DM me if you want to know more.
Okay.
And what else?
Hair. How do you keep your hair so healthy?
I don't fiddle with it.
Me too.
Is probably what I just don't muck around with it. I don't use dryer. If somebody's working on my hair, they do all the shitty stuff. So I try not to do any of that when I'm on a daily basis. So I don't dry it and try not to use products. I use any old shampoo though. I haven't found anyone that I love any more than any other.
I found a really good brand. I just wash my hair once a week. I found a great brand called Unite. It's out of the States. It's amazing. And there's like a spray leave-in conditioner that you can do that is, yeah, it's really, really wonderful. So what is the beauty in aging for you?
Learning who I am and what I want to do for the best me. And I have no idea what that's going to be tomorrow.
Oh, I love that.
Because I want to be able to change my mind. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, and I love
being happy, and as I said, listening to audiobooks about being happy and people trying to knock you down, and you. I think what are they talking about at the moment? Pets, people. Oh, I can't remember what it stands for. Brain fog. But basically, people are there to test you, and you have to learn. You may be offended by something, but that's you. That's your issue. That isn't the other person. So learning, we all need to learn that, but that is one of the processes that I'm trying to go through at the moment.
That's a powerful, I'm learning that too, that you don't know somebody else's story. So we always finish the stories in our head about that person. Oh, they said that, and we do a whole narrative, and it's got nothing to do with them. It's everything to do with us. So since I've stopped doing that, oh, I'm so much happier. I don't know your story. I really don't. And I don't know why you say things and like that I disagree with, but I'm going to be fine you know, my world's, I'm not that fragile that you can have your opinion and I can have, you can have your opinion. It's okay. You know?
But what about all of these words that you're not allowed to use anymore?
I know.
I'm totally lost.
I know. Well, that's a whole other, I guess the woke police or political correctness. I'm not in that camp. So I get in trouble all the time.
All the time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's what's it called? We're both having suppression. It's suppression. Like you can't, God, there's a word for it, Caroline. This is hilarious. The two of us are having like a total,
you know, in England,
in your
all the
moment.
statues are being pulled down, and those people, the statues, they may have done bad things, but how are we going to learn if you pull
Right.
down the statue? Put up a plaque and say what he did.
Right.
Don't pull him down, because he's also a piece of art and he is history.
Right. And that's the thing too. That's what I'm all about. You have to have a discussion. You have to have a dialogue, even if it's uncomfortable. Like you can't just, I mean, especially here in the States, I mean, don't even get me started. You can't even have controversial figures go to universities to speak because the kids are too fragile. They can't hear it because oh my God, do you know, you get trigger warnings like that the kids, like when the speakers come to the universities, like they do a contract, you can't talk about this because this could trigger an emotion in somebody. Well, isn't that called dialogue? Like, isn't that how we learn skills, how to communicate? And
how are people going to learn?
It's a scary phase.
How are we going to learn? I don't know that I'm offending you.
Yeah.
If we don't have a discussion.
I know.
Anyway, I hope I haven't offended you.
You've offended me the whole broadcast. I'm off your feet. I'm never going back there again. No, I've enjoyed every moment with you. I think you're wonderful, and I will keep following your journey. And I love your story that you came back from something really major and you've created this life for yourself of independence and success. It's really wonderful to see. So I'm so thrilled you spent this time with us today.
Well,
really appreciate
I'm glad
it.
you're better, and I'm sorry that you were not well.
I know, but I'm on the mend.
Good.
I'm on the mend. So
Excellent.
thank you again. Enjoy your class.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. I will. I'll love it.
Okay, good. Take care. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye.